As I record this today, it is the 10th anniversary of the Sega Dreamcast. This is 9909. The Dreamcast was released on 9/9/99, 10 years ago today. And it was way ahead of its time. In fact, the Sega Dreamcast is one of the greatest video game consoles ever created, and my second favorite Sega game console. Nothing will ever top the Genesis. Unless they make a Dreamcast 2, which they should do, and keep the VMU things. If you guys ever make another one, because these are awesome. They don't do a whole lot, but they just look cool, and I like that they have their own D-pad on the memory card. That's just so ridiculous. Although the Japanese got their Dreamcast in 1998, the United States received ours on 9/9/99, supported by a huge marketing effort. It's the first game console with built-in internet connection, so you could play games online years before it was mainstream, and that was kind of a problem also because there weren't that many games or that many people playing online, but it was very cool. In fact, you could actually go online with a web browser and use the internet with your Sega Dreamcast. The Dreamcast had an extremely short lifespan compared to most game consoles. Games were really only released between 1999 and 2001. Now some Japanese titles were released after that, and there's still a homebrew movement out there supporting the Dreamcast, but in general this thing was blown out of the water by the PlayStation 2, but there's still a lot of them out there. And good news for collectors today, the Sega Dreamcast is one of the most undervalued game consoles ever. You can pick these up on eBay for a fraction of their real value. In my opinion, there's tons of excellent arcade titles out there for the Dreamcast, especially if you like Sega games. For starters, I like the size and build quality and design of the Sega Dreamcast. It's a very tight, compact unit. It's not that large, but it feels hefty and solid. It's a heavy game console with a built-in power supply, but it's much smaller than the Xbox 360 or the PlayStation 3. You put discs in the top, it works very well. You push a button, it opens slowly as if it's presenting whatever awesome game is inside the Dreamcast. Today we have Charge and Blast. For 4-player games, this thing was awesome. You could plug 4 controllers into the front of it without having to buy any additional accessory like the PlayStation 2 multi-tap, which is what you had to do for the PS2. Also, each controller could have their own memory card to save games. Unlike the newer game consoles, the Dreamcast does not rely on a hard drive to save data. It uses these VMU memory cards, so you don't have to worry about a hard drive breaking, crashing, or corrupting on you. These are extremely well built and reliable. If you buy one today, it should provide you years of enjoyment. The audio and video quality on the Dreamcast were light years ahead of the original PlayStation 1 and the Sega Saturn and N64. It was such a powerful machine. It's very comparable to the PlayStation 2, both visually and in the audio department, at least the earlier PlayStation 2 games. This thing had more potential locked inside of it. There's no shortage of cool accessories for the Dreamcast, like light guns, aftermarket controllers, arcade sticks, and the awesome Sega Dreamcast keyboard, which you could use for the internet back in the day. Also, the keyboard is essential for playing the Typing of the Dead on your Dreamcast, which is a typing game based on Sega's arcade shooter, The House of the Dead 2. Watch my review of that. Not to mention the awesome accessory that came with Seaman, allowing you to talk to and threaten the fish. Many exclusive titles are on the Sega Dreamcast, like Shenmue, Giga Wing. Even though the Dreamcast had an extremely short primary commercial lifespan in the United States, only about 2 years, there's hundreds of games available for it, many exclusives, lots of Sega arcade titles, lots of shooters, lots of fighting games. It's an awesome game console. When Classic Game Room was new back in the day, we were among the first people reviewing Sega Dreamcast games in 1999 and early 2000. I still love this thing. It's so undervalued. You cannot go wrong with a Sega Dreamcast. It's inviting you to buy one and play some awesome video games, which is what I'm going to do. to celebrate the 10-year anniversary today of the Sega Dreamcast. I suppose I should plug it in first. It still requires power. It wasn't that futuristic. It doesn't just run on imagination, although it should. Let's plug that in, and I know many of you know this sound. Maybe that's the sound of the power cord not actually being plugged in. Let me double check that. Oh yeah, that's the one. You gotta plug in that power cord before you try that. Okay, take two. Let's plug this thing on. I know many of you know this pleasing sound. That's the sound of progress.